Ladies and gentlemen, you must take some time out of your life and listen to this speech. If things go your way, you can do a lot that you don't know about. Your eyes will be opened after listening to this speech today. There comes a moment in every life when silence becomes too loud, when the weight of existing without living begins to suffocate the soul. You're breathing, your heart beats, you walk, you talk, you smile, but inside, you know something is missing. You're alive, but you're not living. So many people walk this earth as shadows of themselves, afraid to feel too much, afraid to dream too wildly, afraid to live like they know. This is their one chance, their one life, their one breath. Why? Because somewhere along the line we were taught to play it safe, to shrink ourselves into quiet obedience, to suppress our emotions, numb our fears, and forget our hopes. But let me ask you something. What's the point of being alive if your soul is buried beneath routine? If your fire is smothered by the comfort of fear? If you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore? You are not here by accident. You were not meant to drift endlessly, chained by yesterday's wounds, paralyzed by tomorrow's unknowns. You are alive, and that means something. It means there's something in you that still wants to fight, something that wants to feel more deeply, speak more honestly, and move through this world with meaning. The question is, will you answer that call? Or will you wait until life hits you with a pain so deep that you finally remember you were born with power, with fire, with a voice meant to shake the ground beneath you? Wake up, not with your body, but with your soul. Look around you, not just with your eyes, but with your awareness. Because life is happening, right now, with or without your permission. The air you breathe is not promised. The people you love will not be here forever. Your chances, your days, your opportunities, they're counting down. And every moment you spend hiding is a moment you will never get back. So stop asking for permission to live. Stop waiting for the world to validate you. Stop thinking you're too late, too broken, too far gone. You are none of those things. You are becoming. You are unfolding. You are still here, and that is enough. Enough to start again. Enough to rise today and not just exist, but live. Live like the pain didn't kill you. Live like you're not afraid to want more. Live like you know your worth. Live like your breath has purpose. Live like your name matters. Because it does. You matter. And if the world has made you forget that, let this speech be your reminder. You don't need more time. You need more truth. The truth that you can begin now. You can turn this very moment into the spark of something new. Your next chapter doesn't begin when the world is ready for you. It begins the moment you're ready to face yourself. So walk into the world with your head high, not in arrogance, but in awareness. Because you're not here to impress. You're here to express. You're not here to survive. You're here to live. Live with dignity. Live with depth. Live with direction. And if this message touched you, don't keep it to yourself. Because there are others just like you who have forgotten that being alive is a gift. Share this. Let them feel it. Let them remember. And let them join you on this journey. Because this channel is not just about watching. It's about awakening. Every video is a mirror. Every word is a spark. And together we rise. Like, subscribe. Stay with me. We're not here to wander. We're here to wake up and finally live as if we know it. It's one of the most powerful truths we often overlook. Every morning you wake up, there's breath in your lungs, a beating heart in your chest, and yet, you move through the day like you're sleepwalking. You follow the routine, speak when spoken to, smile when expected, and return to your bed feeling as if nothing truly happened. This isn't living, it's surviving. It's functioning. It's existing. But existence without depth, without presence, without emotional and psychological engagement, is a slow death of the spirit. You're not here to drift endlessly through tasks and obligations. You're not here to respond automatically to a clock, to be pulled by demands that don't reflect your desires. You were not created to fit in the mold of someone else's expectations, yet that's where so many people end up. They lose themselves in a life that doesn't resemble their soul at all. They wake up and go to sleep with a heaviness they can't name, a restlessness they don't understand. This is the quiet suffering of the modern world. We have mastered the art of pretending everything is fine while our inner world is quietly collapsing. We numb the pain with distractions. We keep ourselves busy so we don't have to face the void. But here's the truth: until you recognize that you've been merely existing, you'll never truly begin to live. Until you confront the fact that going through the motions is not the same as being alive, you'll remain disconnected from your own life. You may be surrounded by people, but feel deeply alone. You may have everything others say you should want and still feel empty. That's not because you're broken. It's because the soul cannot thrive in a life where it is ignored. When you stop listening to what's inside you, when you silence your own desires, when you live only to avoid conflict or keep up appearances, something inside you begins to fade. The longer you ignore it, the more distant you become from your true self. Being alive is more than just staying alive. It's more than breathing, eating, working, and sleeping. It's about being connected to yourself, to the present, to the experiences unfolding around you. It's about feeling deeply, allowing emotions to rise without judgment, allowing yourself to be vulnerable enough to grow. It's about giving meaning to your moments, not just passing time but inhabiting it with purpose and awareness. Existing keeps you safe, but living makes you real. Existing protects you from discomfort, but living teaches you what it means to feel joy, pain, love, and loss in full color. Existing is about minimizing risk. Living is about embracing the truth that risk is where the beauty lies. The risk of being seen, the risk of failing, the risk of loving, the risk of choosing your own path when everyone around you walks another. That's where life breathes, in your courage, not your comfort. Many people think that to start truly living, they need to quit their jobs, move to another country, or make some grand gesture. But the truth is, living starts with awareness, with presence, with the decision to show up fully for your own life. It's in the smallest moments, the way you listen to someone without reaching for your phone, the way you look at the sky and really see it, the way you speak kindly to yourself when you're struggling. These moments add up. They shift your inner world. They remind you, I am not a machine. I am not a ghost. I am alive. You have passions you've silenced, questions you've buried, a voice you've muffled to make others comfortable. And every time you deny your truth, every time you betray what you really want for the sake of avoiding conflict, you strengthen the illusion that life is something that happens to you. But life isn't passive. It's raw, unpredictable, emotional. It asks for your participation. It asks for your courage. It asks for you. No one else can do this for you. No one else can feel your emotions, carry your memories, or fulfill the deep ache inside you to become something more. That responsibility and that gift belongs to you alone. Being alive is a chance, a fleeting, precious chance, to become conscious of who you are and to live that truth without apology. The clock doesn't pause for your hesitation. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready or motivated or certain. Seconds turn into minutes, minutes into hours, and before you know it, days slip through your fingers like grains of sand. Most people walk through life as if they have all the time in the world, as if they can afford to delay their healing, their dreams, their truth. But the brutal reality is this: time is the only thing you cannot earn back. Once it's gone forever. And every moment you spend pretending, hiding, avoiding, or waiting is a moment you will never get again. People always say, someday I'll pursue what I love. Someday I'll speak my truth. Someday I'll break this habit. Someday I'll leave this situation that drains me. But someday is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of change. It's a soft, quiet way to delay life while convincing ourselves we're being practical. The truth is, the longer you postpone becoming the person you were meant to be, the more distant that version of you becomes. The more you rehearse the role of someone you're not, the more lost you feel in your own skin. Urgency doesn't mean panic. It doesn't mean rushing through life recklessly. It means living with intention, with clarity. It means recognizing that you don't have forever, so what you do today matters. It means making decisions that reflect your truth instead of your fears. It means speaking honestly, even when your voice shakes. It means stepping into the light, even when you're not sure who's watching. Living with urgency means valuing your time so deeply that you refuse to waste it on things that numb you, distract you, or make you feel smaller. People waste years being stuck in patterns they know are wrong for them. They stay in relationships that drain them, environments that dull them, and mindsets that destroy them. Why? Because change feels like a risk. Because being honest about what they really want might shake everything. But what they don't see is that not changing is the bigger risk. Staying the same is a slow erosion of the spirit. Every time you ignore your truth to keep the peace, you create war inside yourself. And that war only grows louder with time. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. The real thing. Every moment that passes is carved into your memory, shaping the story you will one day look back on. Do you want that story to be filled with regrets about the words you didn't say, the chances you didn't take, the life you didn't claim? Or do you want it to be full of moments where you showed up, stood tall, and lived as if your time mattered? Living with truth doesn't mean you always have the right answer. It means you're willing to face the questions. It means you stop pretending. It means you stop shrinking. It means you no longer let the expectations of others drown out your own voice. Truth isn't always comfortable, but it is always freeing. When you begin to live in truth, you begin to feel peace. Not the kind that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind that comes from no longer betraying yourself. And what happens when you combine truth with urgency? You begin to live a life that is yours, not someone else's idea of who you should be. You start making decisions based on what aligns with your deepest values, not what pleases the crowd. You stop entertaining things that drain your energy and start prioritizing the things that light your soul on fire. You stop measuring your life by how busy you are and start measuring it by how honest you are, how present, how fulfilled, how deeply connected you feel to your own path. There's nothing more tragic than someone who waits their whole life to start living. They wait for the right time, the right sign, the perfect plan. But perfection is a myth and time doesn't wait. The moment is now. It always has been. Every second that ticks by is an invitation to choose differently, to act, to speak, to show up in a way that aligns with who you really are. The urgency isn't in fearing death. It's in honoring life. In recognizing that while you are here, you have a responsibility to live with depth, with courage, and with full awareness of how precious your time truly is. Fear has a voice, and it speaks in whispers. It doesn't scream. It slowly persuades, convinces you to wait a little longer, to stay a little smaller, to settle for a version of life that doesn't challenge your limits. It makes you second-guess yourself, not because you lack the ability, but because it knows that if you ever truly believe in yourself, everything will change. Fear doesn't care about your peace, it cares about your compliance. It wants you to stay exactly where you are, not because that's where you belong, but because that's where it can control you. Every purpose, every dream, every step toward becoming who you were meant to be, fear stands at the gate. Not because it's powerful, but because it knows that you are. It's not the world that stops most people from living fully. It's the fear inside them. The fear of being judged. The fear of failing. The fear of being different. The fear of not being enough. And so they build walls, not around their homes, but around their hearts. They convince themselves that safety is better than fulfillment, that quiet suffering is better than loud transformation. But safety is not peace, and comfort is not growth. There's a kind of death that happens long before the body stops breathing. The death of desire, the fading of passion, the slow disappearance of self. And fear feeds that death. It feeds on every time you say no to something that calls you forward. It grows stronger every time you silence your own voice to avoid discomfort. It thrives when you choose familiarity over freedom. The longer you let fear dictate your choices, the further you drift from the path that was meant for you. Purpose is not found by chance. It's revealed when you're willing to confront what you're afraid of. It's not about being fearless. It's about doing what matters even while fear is present. It's about standing up to the voice in your head that tells you to play small and choosing instead to rise, to move, to speak. Every person who ever lived with purpose had to battle fear. They weren't born with more courage. They simply decided that their mission mattered more than their fear. They understood that fear is not a reason to stop. It's a signal that you're close to something important, You can't serve your purpose and your fear at the same time. One will lead and the other will follow. If you keep choosing fear, your purpose will dim. It won't disappear completely, but it will retreat into the background, waiting for the moment you finally turn toward it again. Some people spend their entire lives running from the very thing they were born to do. Not because they don't want it, but because they believe the lie that they're not worthy of it. That they're not capable. That they're too flawed, too broken, too late. But none of that is true. You were not meant to be ruled by fear. You were not built to live in the shadows of your potential. Deep down, you know that. That's why you feel restless. That's why certain things stir something inside you, even if you try to ignore it. Your soul recognizes what your mind is trying to forget. That you are here for more. That your gifts, your voice, your energy, your presence, they matter. They have weight. They have purpose. And fear is the only thing standing between who you are and who you could become. It doesn't matter how long you've been afraid. It doesn't matter how many times you failed or how far off track you feel. What matters is whether or not you're willing to take the next step anyway. Whether or not you'll stop waiting for fear to disappear and start acting with fear in the room. Because the moment you move in spite of fear, its power begins to fade. It no longer commands your decisions. It no longer controls your direction. You begin to see it for what it is, not a wall, but a door. Not an enemy, but a teacher. Every time you choose truth over fear, you get closer to your purpose. Every time you risk being misunderstood, you reclaim a part of yourself. Every time you step forward, even trembling, you prove that courage isn't about being unshaken. It's about moving forward with your heart wide open. Fear may walk beside you, but it no longer leads. And when fear no longer leads, purpose takes its rightful place. Not as an abstract idea, but as a living, breathing force that pulls you toward who you are meant to be. There's a reason you feel the ache to become something more. There's a reason you long for clarity, for connection, for depth. It's because you were never meant to drift through life detached from your own existence. You were not born to just survive. You were born to impact, to create, to awaken something in others by first awakening something in yourself. You don't need someone else to validate your worth, because your existence alone proves that you are meant to be here. Your life is not an accident, not a mistake, not a background story in someone else's journey. It carries a meaning that only you can discover, and only you can fulfill. There are things only your eyes can see. There are messages only your voice can deliver. There are people who will be moved, changed, or healed simply because you chose to be yourself. That's how powerful you are. But most people go their entire lives unaware of this. They chase approval, imitate others, suppress their individuality, and wonder why they feel empty. It's because they've abandoned the very thing that makes life meaningful, their own truth. When you disconnect from who you really are, when you reject your own voice, you lose touch with the purpose that was planted inside you from the beginning. This world will try to convince you that your value depends on how much you achieve, how flawless you appear, or how well you fit in. But real meaning is never found in perfection or conformity. It's found in presence, in authenticity, in the courage to stand for something deeper than the surface. When you stop trying to be what others want and start honoring what you truly are, you reconnect with the energy that gives your life direction. That energy is not found outside, it comes from within. From the moment you choose to align with what feels real, not just what looks right. You have power that you've ignored for too long. Power that doesn't come from dominance or noise, but from alignment with your core. The power to say no when something doesn't serve you. The power to walk away from what's familiar when it no longer nurtures you. The power to rise from pain without letting it define you. The power to remain soft in a world that often rewards hardness. That kind of strength is rare, and it's within you right now, waiting to be remembered, waiting to be claimed. Your past doesn't diminish your meaning. Your mistakes don't cancel your worth. Every scar, every setback, every doubt, they are not signs of weakness. They are chapters in a story that is still being written, and you, right now, are the author. You get to decide what the next page looks like. You get to choose whether you will keep silencing your voice or finally speak. Whether you will keep hiding your pain or begin transforming it into purpose. Whether you will live in fear of being seen or allow yourself to be known. There is no fixed path for what your life must look like. Meaning is not found in doing what others expect. It's found in becoming deeply honest with yourself. What moves you? What stirs something in your chest when no one is watching? What do you think about late at night when the world is quiet? These are not distractions, they are clues. Clues to your calling, to the deeper currents beneath the surface. When you follow them, even without knowing where they lead, you start to build a life rooted in meaning rather than performance. Too many people wait for permission to believe in themselves. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect sign, the perfect conditions. But the truth is, your meaning doesn't wait. It's already there, already calling. All you have to do is stop resisting. Stop telling yourself you're not ready. Stop measuring your potential against other people's paths. You were never meant to be a copy. Your journey was designed to be original, unpredictable, and deeply personal. It is not less valuable because it looks different. It is more valuable because it is real. When you begin to embrace your inner power, everything changes. Not because the world becomes easier, but because you become stronger. You begin to walk with intention. You begin to speak with conviction. You begin to act in ways that honor your soul, not just your fears. And even in the quiet moments, when no one else sees your effort, you'll know you are living on purpose. Not just existing, not just performing, but living a life that reflects who you truly are. There's a version of you that exists beyond the pain you've carried. A version that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. A version that still holds your light, untouched by the wounds, untouched by the doubts. But pain has a way of wrapping itself around your identity, convincing you that you are nothing more than what you've suffered. It whispers to you that your worth is measured by your damage, your future by your failures. That voice is not truth. It is fear wearing the mask of memory. And unless you learn to separate who you are from what you've endured, you will spend your life building a home in your own hurt. Pain teaches, but it must not be allowed to rule. What you've gone through may shape your perspective, but it does not define your destiny. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the loss, the silence, none of it owns you. Those are events. You are a soul. You are not the chaos that happened to you. You are the consciousness that survived it. You are the awareness that felt it, processed it, and still chose to rise. You are not broken. You are evolving. And every moment you choose healing over hiding, clarity over confusion, you move closer to the version of yourself that was never lost, only hidden beneath the weight of it all. The world often teaches us to bury our pain, to smile through the ache, to stay silent so we don't disturb others. But what isn't faced never fades. It sits in your body, your breath, your decisions. It lingers in how you speak to yourself when you're alone. It repeats in the patterns you can't seem to escape. Transcending pain doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means refusing to let it become your identity. It means acknowledging it, honoring it, and then choosing to move through it without allowing it to steal your peace. True strength is not about appearing unaffected. It's about letting yourself feel fully and still deciding to move forward. It's about facing your inner wounds without judgment and creating space for transformation. Every emotion you've suppressed, every tear you've held back, every moment you've numbed just to keep going, that's not weakness. That's survival. But you were made for more than surviving. You were made to evolve, to grow through what you've lived through, to build meaning from the ruins. You are allowed to rewrite your story without erasing the chapters that hurt. There's a quiet power in healing. It's not loud or dramatic. It doesn't announce itself, but it changes everything. It shifts how you see yourself, how you treat others, how you respond to chaos. Healing lets you stop reacting and start choosing. It gives you the power to no longer be triggered by old wounds because they've been faced and integrated. It allows you to forgive, not to excuse the harm, but to release yourself from being bound to it. Healing is not forgetting. It's remembering differently, through the eyes of someone who has made peace with their past. You don't owe your loyalty to the pain that shaped you. You owe it to the truth that lives beneath it. That truth is still in you, waiting to be expressed. It's in the way you care deeply, in the way you notice what others ignore, in the way your heart still reaches for light even after being covered in darkness. That truth is your guide, your compass. Follow it. Let it lead you beyond the version of yourself that's only ever known survival. Let it awaken the part of you that remembers what it feels like to live, not just endure. You may have been hurt, but you are not your hurt. You may have been betrayed, but you are not your betrayal. What happened to you may have left scars, but scars are not signs of weakness. They are reminders that you lived through something that could have broken you, but didn't. You endured. And now you get to choose what comes next. You get to decide whether your pain becomes your prison or your platform. Whether you stay bound to the story that wounded you, or you rise and create a new one. There will be days when the past feels heavy, when the old emotions return, when the weight of what you've carried seems unbearable. On those days, remind yourself that healing is not linear. It is layered and it takes time. But with every step, you're proving something sacred. That pain can be transformed. That suffering can evolve into wisdom. That you can be both scarred and strong, wounded and whole. That your past is a chapter, not the ending. That within you lies something untouched by all of it. The power to transcend, to evolve, and to rise again.